This wasn't your usual petty celebrity feud. Oh no, this was a full-on, gloves-off, career-defining battle that immediately hijacked every headline and talk show across the country.
Put another gay diverse woman in it, make it more fucking lit.
On one side, you had Rachel Eddy, a young star still nursing the bruises from Disney's disastrous Snow White reboot, desperately trying to reclaim her image. And on the other, two savage comedy veterans who made their entire careers out of roasting every single pop culture figure you can imagine and never apologizing for it. The drama detonated after South Park aired an absolutely vicious episode that dragged Rachel's controversial Snow White update straight through the mud. True to form, Parker and Stone, they didn't pull a single punch. They went for the jugular.
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
The episode took the controversy around Rachel and turned it into pure, ridiculous cartoon chaos. Their animated Rachel pranced through a fantasy kingdom glued to a smartphone dripping in royal bling, shooting off bold hot takes on history, Hollywood, and the so-called culture wars. Every single scene kept escalating, getting more savage, more outrageous, until it all exploded into a wild musical number that gleefully shredded Hollywood's obsession with billion-dollar remakes. Fans, they were howling with laughter. Rachel? She wasn't laughing at all. At first, insiders whispered that she'd just shrug it off. After all, South Park was infamous for this stuff. Rachel's too smart, too polished, they said. She knows how this game works. But that calm didn't last, because just a few days later, TMZ dropped the absolute bombshell. Rachel Zegler sues Trey Parker and Matt Stone for $100 million, 0 cents over South Park's portrayal. People thought maybe it was just a scare tactic, a way to force a public apology, maybe make them pull the episode. Nope. Rachel came for blood. Her legal team stormed in swinging, filing official papers packed with brutal accusations. The episode didn't just mock her, it torched her career. It portrayed her as a spoiled, clueless diva who single-handedly tanked one of Disney's most expensive movies ever.
There's no doubt that she drove the final nail into this movie's coffin. She probably drove the final 2 or 3 nails into the coffin.
The lawsuit didn't sugarcoat anything. Rachel's team claimed Parker and Stone didn't just cross the line, they obliterated it. They accused the creators of character assassination, alleging they painted Rachel as the reason Snow White collapsed into a historic box office disaster. One scene especially twisted the knife. Cartoon Rachel was shown sarcastically stuffing movie budget money into her dress while joking that even snacks cost $40 million, 0 cents. And to Rachel's lawyers, that wasn't just mean, it was malicious, damaging, and flat out false. And the fallout came fast. Studio offers gone. One studio even flat out told Rachel's team that the cartoon's portrayal had tainted her brand so badly, they had to pause discussions. To Rachel and her people, this was all the proof they needed. This wasn't comedy anymore. It was real-world, career-wrecking defamation with real money, real consequences. Meanwhile, as the lawsuit news exploded across the internet, Parker and Stone were literally in the middle of a writers' meeting at their offices in Culver City. Staffers later described the scene. Every single phone buzzed at once. Ping, ping, ping. Push notifications from Variety, Deadline, TMZ blowing up their screens. Trey and Matt locked eyes. Annoyed? Definitely. Amused? Maybe a little. Worried? For the first time in years, maybe. They'd survived furious lawsuits from religious groups, huge corporations, even angry mobs outside Comedy Central. But a single actress coming at them for 9 figures? That was a new level of insane. One writer joked, guess we're finally worth $100 million, 0 cents each, trying to cut the tension. Nervous chuckles followed, but deep down, everyone knew this was serious. Because here's the thing, South Park's whole brand, their entire empire, was built on the idea that nothing was off limits. But in today's viral internet culture, every joke becomes a flash grenade. If a court ruled that their Snow White roast crossed into defamation, it wouldn't just hurt South Park. It could torpedo their billion-dollar Paramount Plus deal. It could end their careers. For the first time ever, South Park's ultimate power to say whatever the hell they wanted was under real legal attack. Online, total war broke out. On one side, Rachel's supporters cheered her for standing up to what they called unchecked animation harassment, hailing her as a hero fighting for basic respect. On the other side, South Park fans rallied behind their guys, trending hashtags like satire is not slander, and declaring Trey and Matt the last warriors for free speech in Hollywood. Late-night talk shows, they were eating this drama up, roasting the situation as princess versus paper cutouts. Cable news packed their panels with legal experts, asking the ultimate question, can a cartoon actually be defamation? Meanwhile, inside the South Park offices, Trey and Matt set up a secret war room, brainstorming, planning, plotting. Their first instinct was classic South Park. turn the whole lawsuit into an episode, make fun of themselves, mock the lawsuit, torch the entire circus. But this time, their lawyers slammed the brakes. Any joke, any jab, any episode, it could backfire. It could be seen as retaliation. It could make things so much worse. So for once, they stayed silent, at least in public. Behind closed doors, oh, you know they were dying to let loose. Ideas floated around. Puppet trials, where cartoon versions of themselves testified. Sad ballads, titled Sue Me Gently. Courtroom sketches so bad they looked like a 5-year-old's art project, but everything stayed locked in the vault. For now. Meanwhile, Rachel, people close to her said she swung between fierce determination and pure exhaustion. This wasn't about money to her, they said. This was about respect. Rachel felt if she didn't fight back now, she'd be trapped forever, mocked, memed, and dismissed. Critics scoffed, pointing out that even Tom Cruise, Kanye West, and the Queen herself got roasted harder and still thrived. But Rachel's defenders had a sharp comeback. Those icons had decades of goodwill behind them. Rachel, she was still building her career, way more vulnerable to being wrecked by a single viral moment. As the lawsuit snaked its way through the courts, Trey and Matt finally broke their silence with a 2-line statement. We believe strongly in the right to parody public figures and public events. We look forward to a vigorous defense of that right. Short, sharp, professional, no punches thrown yet. But insiders whispered that the moment the legal muzzle came off, Trey and Matt were ready to torch the whole saga into comedy gold. Lawyers agreed the whole case would hinge on one brutal question. Previous court cases usually protected jokes that no reasonable person would take literally, but this case? This one was balancing on a razor's edge. In the South Park episode At the Heart of It All, animated Rachel belts out this insane song, claiming she rewrote iconic scenes just to fatten her paycheck. Fans laughed, critics said it was clearly satire, but Rachel's legal team wasn't playing. They argued hard that not everyone could tell it was a joke. They brought actual evidence, screenshots of real social media posts from viewers who genuinely believed Rachel had sabotaged Snow White behind the scenes. Her team claimed that Trump wasn't just a harmless cartoon, it was character destruction in real time. Meanwhile, Parker and Stone's lawyers came out swinging. They unloaded mountains of posts, tweets, memes, even YouTube videos showing that fans knew the whole thing was absurd. Their message was crystal clear. No one with a working brain could possibly take this seriously. They insisted this was a cartoon. It was supposed to be outrageous. It was supposed to be stupid. It's literally the point. And just when you thought the drama couldn't get any messier, Disney stepped into the shadows. They weren't named in the lawsuit. If Parker and Stone's lawyers got their hands on those, Disney's whole image could crack wide open in court. Meanwhile, a trial date was set early next year. Perfect timing to mess with award season and South Park's next batch of episodes. Coincidence? Yeah, right. Legal insiders started whispering this thing might be too risky for both sides. Maybe there'd be a secret settlement to make it all disappear. But Parker and Stone, they weren't folding. Sources said they made it very clear, if we settle now, every celebrity with hurt feelings will line up outside our door. We'd never be able to tell another joke again. And that steely stance won them some heavyweight allies. The ACLU even filed an amicus brief supporting South Park, warning that letting lawsuits like this win could kill satire forever. Their argument, powerful people craft carefully manufactured images. Without savage, unfiltered comedy, the public would never be able to challenge what's real and what's fake. Rachel's team saw the danger. They started shifting their strategy fast. Instead of framing the case as killing free speech, they pivoted. This isn't about banning jokes. It's about a stopping malicious distortion that can wreck a young person's entire future. Rachel picked a sympathetic late-night show for her first real interview after the lawsuit. She sat down, tearful, composed, raw, and she made it heartbreakingly clear she respected satire. But what happened to her wasn't satire. It was a personal hit job. Her honesty was undeniable. Headlines exploded again, painting Rachel as brave, courageous, a fighter standing up against Hollywood's toxic side. But just as quickly, the backlash rolled back in even harder. Online trolls lit up like wildfire, accusing her of being soft, dramatic, entitled. Team Rachel versus Team South Park raged across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, memes, TikTok edits, viral videos flying like shrapnel. Anyone trying to be reasonable, completely drowned out by the chaos. When the pre-trial hearing finally hit, it turned into a full-blown circus. The press packed the courthouse, desperate for fireworks. Parker and Stone arrived first. They wore subdued black suits, but Trey had sneaky little cufflinks shaped like tiny TVs, and matched tie covered in tiny cartoon paper cutouts. The South Park boys might have been told to behave, but you knew they were itching to throw a little shade. Rachel arrived separately, serious, focused, wearing a sharp navy blazer, flanked by her high-powered legal team. Cameras caught the briefest moment, Rachel glancing toward Parker and Stone. The look on her face, a raw, electric mix of anger, fear, closure, and maybe, just maybe, a glimmer of hope for some kind of peace. Inside the courtroom? Rachel's team hammered a very specific moment from the episode. The scene where cartoon studio execs fling money at her while she shrieks, "Modernization isn't cheap, peasants." Her lawyers argue that it wasn't an obvious joke. It painted her as a greedy diva who demanded insane perks, and a lot of people believed it. Meanwhile, South Park's defense team hit back with everything they had. "This is South Park," they thundered. "This is a show with talking towels, crapping Christmas characters, and time-traveling tricycles. No sane person believes this is real." They argue that if you start outlawing jokes that push boundaries, you don't just kill South Park, you kill comedy itself. The judge listened carefully and then dropped the bombshell. He refused to dismiss the case. Instead, he ruled that a jury would have to decide, could an average viewer really tell this was satire or not? That middle ground ruling left everyone stunned. Rachel's camp wanted a fast win. Parker and Stone wanted it tossed completely. Now they were heading to a full-on public trial, with all the cameras, chaos, and scandal that would bring. As the two sides left the courthouse, they stayed cool for the cameras. Parker and Stone, confident, smirking slightly, silent but defiant. Rachel, calm, determined, no cracks showing, at least not on the outside. But everyone knew this wasn't just about a cartoon anymore. This had morphed into a full-blown cultural battlefield, about what comedy could still get away with. Would the jury side with the rising star fighting for her dignity, or the legendary creators battling to save unfiltered satire? Either way, Hollywood and the future of edgy comedy itself was never going to be the same again.